Whoa, there's so many events and so many clubs.
I know, there's like music and the Asian night market and the roots.
I don't even know where to start with.
Me neither.
Guys!
Hi!
How are you?
Good, but well, a little bit busy.
How's your first year?
It was great, but overwhelming. I just walked into the nest and saw a pole filled with posters. There's so many events, so many clubs. I don't know which one to pick and which one to choose.
You know what? I totally understand. We're in second year, and I bet you too, but I'm having trouble deciding which sports club to go to. There's climbing, there's so many things.
I know, right?
Yeah, I was thinking of joining a dance team to stay active, but I'm also interested in like volunteering at a lab and stuff. So there's so many things to do, it's so confusing. It's okay guys, we've got this. You can do it.
There is a big emphasis at UBC on like the opportunities that are offered and how like they want you to take advantage of all the extracurricular opportunities that they have aside from school.
I got over-involved in so many different activities. I was finding joy from all of these activities and learning so much, but I was also realizing that I wasn't taking enough time to take care of myself in the process.
There was a time when I decided to take on 6 different positions in 6 different clubs, and I never really felt fulfilled in those things. I was in them and I was doing what I needed to do, but I didn't feel a part of anything, and it wasn't leaving me with the feelings that I wanted to have by joining them.
I really had a hard time balancing just like all the sports and different activities in school and cooking and just kind of living on my own for the first time. So I ended up like studying late at night a lot, and that was pretty stressful, and I ended up like losing sleep over it and stuff like that.
When I got to university, I felt like all of a sudden everyone was getting into clubs. 3 different clubs, execs of all of them. They had a part-time job, they had volunteer work, they're also in a lab, and then throughout the years, maybe they went on exchange, or they did co-op, or they did internships, and then I was just like, wait, what am I doing?
Even now to this day, I see other students getting over-involved to the point where they're so excited to be part of programs or activities or conferences that they don't realize they're not leaving enough time for themselves.
I realized that I wasn't feeling fulfilled in the things I was in, so instead I just kept on adding more things in, hoping that that would make me feel fulfilled, but it didn't. It kind of did the opposite.
I don't know if like the pressure comes more from the university itself as much as the peers. I don't think there's someone who's intending to put that pressure on. It just happens naturally.
I try to be involved in all sort of things, join a lab, go to all my classes. I got to a point that I would just look at all these responsibilities that I set for myself and be like, maybe later, maybe like tomorrow, I'm gonna do that tomorrow. And I haven't done any of those yet, so yay!
From my own experience, getting involved on campus was actually have to be one of the best decisions I've ever made in my undergrad.
When I was taking time for myself to try to recharge, I felt guilty about it. And one thing that I learned as I continued on and on with my studies was that my ability to set aside time to take care of myself actually made me be able to fulfill my commitments in these other things better and made me a happier person overall and more successful in everything I was doing.
What I do is, for each area, for example, volunteering, work, school, extracurriculars, I would give myself one goal.
Getting more involved, I felt so much more connected to other students, other profs, other like grad students even, and even like staff in general, and it really altered my mindset of what it was like attending UBC.
I was thinking about why the other things weren't working, and I realized they just weren't the right fit for me. They weren't the right community, they just weren't right.
My one piece of advice would be make sure to set aside time for yourself and take care of yourself and take that time you need to recharge, however that may be.
You have to understand that it's not selfish for you to take time for yourself to focus on your academic career, because it's really important. And it's also not selfish for you or bad for you to just take time apart from all schooling things and just do something you love to do.
What I would recommend is just like kind of like over time you'll just learn the skills to balance your life out better and balance between all the different activities you do, and just not to get too stressed out initially when you're worried about those kinds of things.
By joining different clubs on campus, or technically in my case, by joining a research lab and working with the graduate student, all the time that I spent surfing YouTube and like taking naps throughout the day was replaced by work, I guess, in a certain way, but that really forced me to get my working habits together It really made me analyze the time I had to do things, and it really pushed me to actually commit to plans that I did make.
I would devote myself to one club 100%, and that would be my main club. And if there was any other clubs I was interested in, maybe I would join that for fun.
Surround yourself with friends who are encouraging. So I have friends that I talk to and say, oh, I feel like I'm not doing enough, or I suck at this, and I'm very lucky to have friends who are very positive and like, no, like, look at all the other things you're doing. You can't save the world. You can't do everything. So community is definitely helpful.
One thing that I'd say is a common pressure for students is just feeling like there are too many possible things to do and that they need to make the most out of every moment, because if they don't make the most out of every moment, then they're somehow falling behind. But I think that my advice would be to just think of your time at university as more like a journey as opposed to a destination. It's not possible to do every different opportunity, and I think what's most important is that it's not as if the moment passes and then you won't have another chance to ever do that again. I know that, for instance, when I was in university, looking back at my time, there were things that, if I felt like I missed out on something, then in a future year or even after I graduated, I was able to get those experiences again. So I guess one thing I would say is it's never too late. In terms of the social comparison aspect, that there's been some interesting research done actually here in the psychology department by Professor Francis Chen, who's found that typically most first-year students at UBC think that everybody else is more successful than they are in terms of fitting in terms of making friends, in terms of doing important things in their life, just in terms of adjusting to UBC. And I think this sort of misperception bias can actually be quite negative to mental health and well-being. If more students were aware of the fact that you might be sitting there thinking that all these other people are doing better than you and adjusting better than you, but they're probably thinking the same thing about you in turn. Sometimes I think that can help be more comforting and take some of the pressure off.
I definitely started through my school years and prior to joining the faculty. I was definitely passionate in a lot of different areas and tried to involve myself in as many activities and learning opportunities as possible. What I found was when I tried to do too many things at once, I realized that I ended up failing at many of those things because I could only contribute so much energy and time to each one of those things. Pick and choose. It's okay to join several activities and commitments when you're first learning about them. But then after, pick and choose which ones you feel most passionate about and invest your time in those. It's always good to be well-rounded and to not only focus on academics and grades. It's very important as you move on through future careers, but at the same time there has to come a time where you choose a few of those passions and just invest your time and energy in those.